Hello and welcome back. So you're an expat, you've moved to Dubai, or you're thinking about moving to Dubai, but you're wondering about driving here. So how do you go about doing that? Well, the good news as an expat is you can just exchange your license here and you can automatically get a UAE driving license. So you don't have to go and do a test, you don't have to do anything like that. As long as you have like I guess you would call it like a Western driving license. I don't know about other places like, I don't know, China and places like that, but most of my audience is UK, Europe, US, Canada. So all of those places, you just rock up with your driving license and you can exchange it. It's actually a fairly simple process, which I'll go over in a minute, but I think some of the things that are worth talking about are the roads here in Dubai, which are of excellent quality, but the driving. The first thing I did was I got out of the airport. There was just chaos where all the taxis were. I got into a taxi and I came to the hotel. Within 5 minutes, I saw 2 crashes, people that had just rear-ended each other. And I was like, okay, this is kind of crazy. And the taxi drivers and the general rules of the road here are you just beep your horn and you just pull in and just hope for the best. So there's varying degrees of this. So there's about sort of 3 different groups of taxi drivers. You have sort of Indian, Pakistani, or African taxi drivers, and the African guys are crazy. So I was praying a few times in the cab. So you're going to need your wits about you when you're driving here in the UAE. I haven't actually driven here yet, but I think it's going to be an experience. I'm probably laying it on too thick. I think once you kind of get into it, it'll be fine. But let's get into the meat of it. And there's various myths and what you'll need and all of these kinds of things. So I've fallen into these traps, so I'm going to make this video so that you don't fall into this trap. So you look online and it says you'll need passport photographs, you'll need your passport with you, your Emirates ID, a letter from Jesus himself. None of this is true. I went and got passport photos done, and there's a form online that you have to fill in, and this is all on something called the RTA, which I think is the Road Traffic Authority here in Dubai, which is like the kind of, in the US it would be the DMV, in the UK it's DVLA, this kind of organization. It manages the roads and the licensing and all of that kind of thing. You don't have to fill in this form, you don't have to get passport photos, you don't really have to do anything. Well, in fact, you have to get an eye test. So here is top tip number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you can do your eye tests at what are called happiness centers, where you'll get your license, but don't do that. Okay, don't do it, because the day that I went, thankfully I didn't do it, but the day that I went, the eye test place wasn't working, or their machine was broken, and apparently this is a bit of a common occurrence. So you had lots of people. There was an Australian guy, there was a British guy, I think there was a Canadian guy. All of them were just running around like headless chickens, not able to get what they needed. So you need to get an eye test. You can find a list of these online. They're opticians in malls and places like that. So the place that I went was in the Mall of the Emirates. It was very easy. It costs 140 dirhams, I think, which is 35 pounds, $45, something like that. And it's super easy. You just go into a test room, you put your glasses on if you need them, and you read a line at the top, a line at the bottom. It was easy. And then they just say, yep, that's passed. It literally took me 2 minutes. They then take your Emirates ID, which you have to have, but you'll have that if you're doing any of this. And your Emirates ID you just need for everything. So what they did is they scan the Emirates ID, they put the test results in, and voila, it actually goes on an internal database. So you don't need to have a piece of paper, you don't need to do anything. At that point, your eye test is done. And then all you need to do is you need to go to the main office of the RTA, which I didn't do, or you can go to what's called happiness centers. There's, why they're called that, I don't know, but customer happiness centers. I think, you know, there's a nice Orwellian term there. But the one that I went to is in Al Barsha, which is next to the Mall of the Emirates. it's like a big government building that has the motor vehicle licensing and taxi cab licensing. And there's a room that at first glance is just chaos, and this is the happiness center. You'll need your Emirates ID and your home country's driving license. That is all you need. So the Emirates ID and the home country license, so long as it has your picture on it. But anyway, you go into this room, which is just organized chaos. It's run by about sort of 15, 20 women that are all communicating with each other. They're in Arabic, and it's all, you know, there's lots of movement, lots of chaos, and it just looks crazy. But once you sort of settle into it, it's like the most organized thing ever. So you just go up to the counter, and a lady there will get your Emirates ID. She'll scan it. You'll need a telephone number and an email address. She will email you a link where you upload your driving license to, you put your telephone number in, your, you know, various details. Then once that's done, you go back to her, she gives you your Emirates ID back, and then you get a little ticket and someone will call your name. My name was called in 2-3 minutes, if that, and I then paid 870 dirhams, I think, which again is probably about $280, something like this. And she takes your Emirates ID, she took my UK license, and they scan it, do all of these things with it, give it back to you. You go and take a seat, and 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, some dude appears from round the back with your license, and you get called, and away I went. I got this lovely little silver license. It was so easy and simple, and it was done from me turning up to leaving was probably half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. It couldn't have been easier. So if you've ever dealt with the DMV or the DVLA, or I dare say in European countries, getting your license and things like that is a bit of an ordeal. Here it was simple. So I'm now deemed legally able to drive on the roads here in the UAE. So I haven't done it yet, as I say, but I'm gonna hire a car. You can use Careem, which is an app that's here, or there's millions of places where you can rent cars. So that's the process. Very simple. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.